having the flag.
806 Need to Know Morning Show on AM 1100 The Flag, WZFG, and I love having small business guys and ladies in the shop here talking about what's going on across our great community. Small businesses make the world go around. We know it's true, and every time we get a chance to salute people who are taking a little corner of the world and saying, I'm going to build something here, I'm going to grow it, I'm going to hire, I'm going to be a blessing to the community. These are great stories, and we love telling them every week here on the Need to Know Morning Show. It's called the CEO Spotlight. It's brought to you by Voller Insurance. When it comes to protecting your business, nobody beats Voller. And today we're pleased to be joined in studio by Jon Lowry from Lowry Engineering, and he's been good enough to stop on over to the studio. Good morning, Jon. How are you?
I'm great. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming over. We appreciate it very much. So tell us a little bit, first of all, about your business. What do you guys do over at Lowry?
Yeah, so we're a civil engineering group. We help cities out and developers, and then work with architects on different site designs and construction projects. We do a lot of the horizontal improvements that come with construction that goes in, and let the architects and the other engineers kind of handle the vertical stuff. But
okay.
Sewer, water, storm, roads, paving, that kind of thing.
So a mix of municipal and private sector stuff. Is it maybe 50-50 on your business, or how does that go?
Yeah, we're a little strong on the private side and work with quite a few municipalities, but I got into engineering. My grandpa back in the 40s and 50s bought some land in the Brainerd and Lakes area that nobody said they could develop. Was swampy, kind of marshy, couple miles of lakeshore on Lake Alexander in the Brainerd Lakes area. And so he developed that and made it into a dream, working as a mortician in Little Falls and doing that on the weekends. And so I kind of got the development bug, and when I was back in college, I kind of had a few different paths I could go and followed this one, and I love it. Get outside and work with your hands a little bit still and feel like you did something at the end of the day, but also use your brains and creative side in the office. So I have a passion for that development side, and so probably steered the company a little bit in that direction.
Yeah. And
working with developers on subdivisions and that kind of thing. So
very cool. Yeah. Well, I wish that your grandpa would have told my grandpa back then that he was going to develop Brainerd Lakeshore property so that the Hallstroms could have got some investments going there.
There wasn't by the end of it. It wasn't like Lakeshore today,
Okay,
he did a lot of bartering for half a pickup truck or this kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yeah, good stuff. I think it's something, Alex. I don't know if it's the same with ladies, but with guys, and Kevin, you're wired this way too. But you just like knowing at the end of the day you left something there that wasn't there before. You can see what you built.
Right, exactly.
Maybe it's an everybody kind of a thing.
That's cool. Exactly.
There are some frustrating days in the office and that, but I worked landscaping and some construction and stuff, and during high school and college years and that, and I think landscaping is probably the most satisfying job. You feel tired, you did something, you can see it,
And it's going to last.
Yeah. So there's that element to the civil engineering world that I really appreciate.
Did you grow up in Brainerd, did I say, or you just worked over there with you when your dad did the project?
So my parents are from Little Falls and Piers.
Okay. Oh,
Piers,
yep.
And then my dad was a professional scouter, so he moved around quite a bit.
Okay.
And so my oldest brother was born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. My other brother was born in Baxter, Brainerd area. They moved back, and then I ended up in Des Moines, Sioux City, and then Nebraska. Since I was 4 years old, was a Nebraska kid. So.
I don't know if you knew, Steve, but Piers, Minnesota, the home of the famous Thielen Meat Department. There.
Oh,
Thielen
man,
Meats.
that's the big time.
Right?
Yeah, we could get into a big discussion.
I grew up
about
on Upper South Long Lake, right north of Piers.
Yeah, that's beautiful country. Yeah.
Well, the Mora Mustangs, my school, we used to play the Piers Pioneers and all the sports back then.
I'm sorry, Steve. That must have been rough.
We came out okay most of those games, if I remember right.
But, I think you hit a sore spot.
There we go. There we go. It's all good. What I was on your website yesterday taking a look and just kind of getting up to speed on what you do. And one of the things I love about your message is that you say our philosophy is centered on understanding and communication. You don't always hear that from an engineering company. Tell me about why you felt so strongly about that you really wanted to make it a big part of your website and your philosophy.
Yeah, so the everybody sees the end goal, the dollar that's made, or kind of the end results. And as a society, I think we kind of focus on those things. But, as an athlete, we were talking a little bit, you were in track and in high school and college, it was the daily work that you put in and the small things that led to those results. And so, we focus a lot on those daily processes and the small things, and kind of let the back end stuff come to us. And that, communication is a big thing. We get a lot of feedback from clients that, you answer the phone, it's great to work with you. We always get a response. And that's a big deal. If we haven't responded to an email or a phone call within, as soon as we can, but 24 hours, absolute max, that's a fail on our part. And it means a lot. The message has been successful, I guess.
Yeah, good. Tell me about a project you did in the, not too a distant past where it was particularly meaningful to you. Maybe something you built, something you helped out with, maybe a deal where you looked at and you said, I don't know how this is going to work. And then you got it all put together and worked out great. Tell us about a great story from what you've been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I talked a little bit or touched on earlier, kind of using that creative and the technical side. You get to go both left brain and right brain.
Yeah.
And so Lost River subdivision is something that is still going on today down in Horace.
Mm-hmm.
And the Samuelsons that own that property, Ed and Sherry Samuelson, and now the kids, I know the Tom Samuelson family real well. They had some developers approaching them and different people, and we'd done some stuff out west. And so a good friend of mine who's married to one of the granddaughters, we sat down with Grandma Sherry and Tom and said, we can make this happen for you guys. And so it was meaningful both from a relationship standpoint to help that come to fruition, but also then, just in the pride in your work side. It's nestled between the Horace Diversion and the Cheyenne River there right on the west side of Horace, and it's beautiful. There's oxbows back in there, and we were able to do a development that preserves the natural beauty. Kind of, you start with your boundary conditions and the things that you can't or don't want to change, and then you look at how the rest of the Lego pieces or whatever, the puzzle comes together. And so we were able to develop a master plan that really preserves the natural beauty out there. And, the first few phases, and they're going on the 5th edition right now.
Wow.
And so to see it all kind of come together and happen, the dream back in 2013 become a reality for the family, and then also the pride in the work is really something.
Yeah, those are some beautiful lots back in there.
Yep.
I've got some friends that live not there, but not too far away, and tell you, that feels like you're a million miles away from the concrete and steel of Fargo, man. That's a really neat area back there.
Cool.
Tell me a little bit about your organization. How many people do you have working for you, and how long you've been doing it, things like that?
Yeah, so we have a sister company in office, Nessett Land Surveys. Cole Nessett, he's from Mayville and from the area. He and I kind of started out on our own at the same time, and office shared right away, and so he's got 5 running in his office. We've got 10 in ours. I think 11 in the summer here. So we keep it pretty full, and started Lowry Engineering in 2012, and kind of based on that philosophy, just felt that there was a better way of doing things, just focusing on the client service and making sure that you take care of their needs first, and the rest will come. So started with a folding chair, and I had the computer and AutoCAD and thought I could get it done.
How about that?
Cole tore his Achilles the day before or the week before playing racquetball.
Oh.
So I've got a picture of him with his sweaties on and a walker. And he's hopped up on painkillers as I was picking him up for the first day of work.
Oh, my gosh, what a great story. I've done that to my Achilles too, and I'm telling you what, I don't wish that injury on my worst enemy.
Yeah. So
start a business on top of all that.
Yeah, we went to work, and here we are 8-9 years later. So
all right, some of those good drugs maybe help you the first few days in business. You're like, what are we doing here? So help you get through it all. So tell us a little bit about your philosophy. You've got 10, Cole's got 5, so you guys know how to hire people. What do you look for when you're looking for people? They obviously have to have some knowledge and background, but you have to have the right kind of people too.
Absolutely. And I don't know that I'm that great at hiring, to be honest. We've had a pretty good track record, so maybe I am, but it's sitting down and having a conversation, and you get a feel for a person if they're arrogant or they've got a big ego, if they're going to be a good fit for your team.
Yeah.
So I think personality is a big part of it, but you need to make sure that they've got the intelligence and the other aspects to go with it. And quite honestly, I've made mistakes in the past where we ended up one individual in our office, we were going to hire one person, thought she was great, but she was number 2 on the list, and we hired 2 instead of 1, and she turned out to be a really outstanding employee as well. And so, you don't always get them right, and so I'm sure I've missed on a few, but I think personality, people from small town and have that work ethic, have worked during high school and put themselves through college, I think that speaks for itself a little bit. And quite honestly, sports or team activities, whether it's being in choir or band or working together as a team, I think there's intangibles that really come with that that can't be coached into somebody in the workplace. It's really tough to the skills you gain, the intangible skills you gain from playing high school sports or being in activities is can't be spoken enough about.
I know a business owner who says, I will not hire someone if they weren't involved in sports growing up, because that competitive, let's go, I want to win means so much.
And I've worked with some friends that you can just tell the difference and putting docs in or doing whatever, and I'm a pretty aggressive guy when it gets down to it. It's time to go. It's time to go.
Yeah.
And that puts some people off, but others are like right in it with you.
That's right.
And you can tell they've got that attitude.
Yes.
That you want to have them around.
So how do you make Lowry Engineering that place to work that people never want to leave? You build that great team spirit there, and you want to keep them around for a long time. What are some of the things you do to try to make it a good place to work?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the same things other people do. We've got good benefits and flexible schedules and things like that when it comes down to the monetary side. But on the work side, try to challenge them on a daily basis. If I notice that you can tell if somebody's not being challenged, and so just try and get back in there and do something to revitalize that and keep them challenged, and then listening. If there's ideas or things that they have, I'm not the end all be all. Try and listen to what they have and bring it to the table, and more of a committee approach than this is how it is,
Yeah,
So.
Great advice. What do you hope the future holds? Do you want to be an organization with offices in 10 states someday, or have 200 people working for you? What do you think the future looks like?
I like being a small company and a small business, and the biggest part of that is you got to have the right people. So if there were individuals that came along and wanted to do that, and I could help grow, not only for the business, but help them grow an office, it takes being there and being hands-on. I can't run a office down in Houston or something like that, or in Nebraska, for example, back home. So it takes the right individuals, and we're really organic with our growth. There's some businesses that say I've got $10 million to spend, and I'm gonna have 100 people, and I'm gonna do this. And I think some bad decisions come out of that. So we've just taken the organic approach and taken it at us as it comes. So
yeah, good stuff. On the list of things you do, there's a lot of different services that you provide, but I want to ask you about facility and asset management. What do you guys do in that area that you want to let people know about?
Yeah, so, people don't think about it this way, but quite honestly, infrastructure is an investment. You put a subdivision in the ground and it costs $5 million. That's pretty expensive, and it can last 20 years or it can last 40 years. And so, we work with quite a few industrial clients, but I think it applies across the board, where you can track work orders and maintenance requirements. You get a list of their machinery, integrate it with their GIS so that it's right there on kind of a display in front of them. And if oil needs to be changed on this press, or hey, it's time to get the storm pipes cleaned out, or whatever the case might be, managing those assets and making sure that they're last as long as they possibly can is important. Just like a car,
Yeah.
the light goes on, right, to get your oil change. Right?
Yeah.
We're that light telling, hey, it's time to get your oil changed. So help
Makes
out
sense.
on that aspect.
Yeah, I like that. Do you find that these opportunities for, I hate to call them side businesses because they're a part of what you do, but just the things maybe are on the edge of what you normally do. Do those things come because you said, hey, let's get into that? Or do those things happen because you're just doing some stuff and you're like, well, we can do that. And somebody says, hey, I need help with that. And it just kind of happens on its own.
We solve problems. You hit the nail on the head. Yep. A problem presents itself and we find a way to solve it for our clients.
Love it.
Yep.
And that's what you get with a small business that maybe sometimes with a larger company,
Yep.
it's
Maybe.
harder to do.
That's right.
Yeah, good stuff. John, anything else you want to tell us about Lowry Engineering before we send you on your way today?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity this morning to come in and chat with you guys. And I think the flag does a great job of representing North Dakota and the community, and appreciate all the work you guys do.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
to hear.
Appreciate that very much. If you want to find out more about John and his company, you can go to LowryENG.com, LOWRYENG.com, and check those guys out. You can get in touch with them if maybe there's a project or a development need that you've got going on, or facilities management, all kinds of things on their website there. Good, solid folks doing it right and doing it well each day. John, thanks for coming by. Great to have you in the studio today. Jon Lowry from Lowry Engineering here on the Need to Know Morning Show. It's 8:21.